Waiver wires going into the fantasy football playoffs are scary. But I actually think there's some legitimate names here that you should put in some claims for. Starting out with a pretty clear one here is Ezekiel Elliott. He's only owned in 72% of leagues. It was just shocking that more than 25% of leagues don't have Ezekiel Elliott owned. But he had 30 opportunities and 91% snap share. He is the workhorse back for the New England Patriots on a football team that is going to try and win games, so it seems. He's going to be used. 91% snap share is absurd. So if Ezekiel Elliott is out there, very easily go pick him up. Now, this one's from my Justin Herbert owners who have made playoffs.
I had a feeling.
You're looking for a replacement?
Yes.
You better go pick up Joe Flacco, baby. You better go pick up Joe Flacco. He is owned in just 9% of leagues. But like I mentioned earlier, 89 attempts over the last 2 weeks. And his schedule for the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs is fantastic. It's the same as Kyler Murray's, where I'm starting him in my other leagues. He gets Chicago and Houston. And then in the fantasy football championship, he gets the Jets. But we'll see what happens. If you listen, get yourself there by picking up and playing Joe Flacco, and then we'll see what happens in the fantasy championship. I am starting Joe Flacco in a league in round 1 of the fantasy championships next week. I am terrified, but it's something you have to do. Justin Herbert owners, unless you had a backup quarterback already, hopefully you did. But if you didn't, Joe Flacco is the one to go pick up. Not Jake Browning. Joe Flacco. Get him on your roster. Starting him week 1. Let's go, dude.
Okay, so it is Joe Flacco instead of Jake Browning, just for any clarification. So I'm glad you said that. Number 2 of my 3 points here, because I totally agree. Joe Flacco is the man. And thank you for the reminder of Zeke and how great he was Thursday, because people may be forgetting about that. He's the number 1 priority. But
number one running back in week 14.
Yeah, he was. It was fantastic. Number 2, dude, Joe Flacco has a revenge game against the Jets. Okay,
dude, I know.
Dude, he was great. He was great because it was hold on against the Browns. He came back to win when he started in place of Zach Wilson. So imagine having the cojones of Joe Flacco to be like, boom, I beat you. Boom, I beat you. It doesn't matter. I'm the GOAT. Joe Flacco for MVP. No doubt. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3. I know we're in podcast mode. Okay. So we've got our hot take wires. Those coils are burning. Right. But let me ask you something. Okay. We just talked about in our Fluker for Real segment about Patrick Mahomes being someone you bench. Okay?
Okay.
Do you feel like you can look the camera in the eye and say in this microphone that Joe Flacco should be started in place of Patrick Mahomes for the playoffs? Take your time.
Joe Flacco against the Chicago Bears or Patrick Mahomes against the New England Patriots? It's Flacco season, baby. It's Flacco season, dude.
It's Flacco season.
You got with the track record of Mahomes with a tougher matchup against Chicago. It's like, dude,
come on.
I think you start Joe Flacco over Patrick Mahomes this week. It's absurd to say, but Mahomes has been terrible for fantasy this year. Flacco's been 20-plus points each of the first 2 games, and he's throwing the ball a ton. He's got the great matchup. Joe Flacco over Mahomes, 100%. Yeah. Joe Flacco is going to be a playoff hero. Yeah, for sure. 100%. Wes, hit me with your waiver wires, and then we'll do a brief Thursday Night Football preview to close out the show.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad you went first because I feel like your waiver wires are the clear, obvious ones to go target in order, and mine are the third and fourth options. And I think that worked out
Great.
well in our plan. I think it's important to prepare. Again, we're in playoff scenario to look at what other teams may need, prepare in the event of any injuries, any roster changes, whatever it may be. If something were to happen to someone else's team, how can you prepare yourself so that the person you're playing against does not pick up these particular players, such as Tajay Spears of the Tennessee Titans, who just had a fantastic PPR night against the Miami Dolphins under the lights, 17 points. We've mentioned him many times on the show. There's a chance that this could transpire into something. It may just be something that they begin to use more next season. But when you have someone that is seeing the snap counts that he is getting, the kind of rapport that is beginning to build with Will Levis, there's something there that I think is important enough to pick up. Maybe use a waiver wire on Tajay Spears. The fourth and final waiver wire that we will mention on the show. Put a pin in Chase Brown, man. I don't know. That was kind of an exciting performance, very Keaton Mitchell-esque to me. There might be something that happens with the Bengals and the way that they're using a lot of players. The yak potential from Chase Brown was pretty exciting. There's a little bit of Devon Achane flash that happened. It's not just from last week. He had something from the week before as well. So I've got my eye on Chase Brown. I'm probably not going to use a waiver wire to get him, but I will wake up Wednesday morning when the transactions have cleared and probably go get him right away and not spend fab on him or my waiver wire order on him. But just throwing out something there, because if something happens to Mixon, Chase Brown might be in for a sweet role. Same thing for Derrick Henry. If he was to go down, Tajay Spears would be in for a wonderful championship run. So those are my waiver wire ads to follow behind Noah's fantastic start.
Yeah, this is the season to be doing that as you get into the playoffs. And it leads into kind of your first point, Wes, of look at what your opponent might need. Check out and see if any of the key handcuffs are available, and Chase Brown being one of them for sure. Because as we get into the fantasy playoffs, the waiver ads are going to be very clear if a Joe Mixon goes down, if a Tony Pollard goes down, if a Christian McCaffrey goes down. So Chase Brown included, but also check and see maybe Rico Dowdle has shown some flashes as well, Elijah Mitchell potentially, but Chase Brown especially there after a good performance. Definitely take a look there for sure. I think it's fantastic.